Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I'm not here in person tonight, but I've put the Christmas avatar up so that it can make you smile and feel Christmassy, even though it is a little bit of a serious subject that we'll be talking about. Well, a very serious subject when I get into talking about the what's going on in Los Angeles. Okay, but I'm going to start off. I've got a few things just to talk about first. Now, something that I haven't done for ages, but as it's coming up to Christmas, if you're thinking about what to buy your loved one for Christmas, or so, and you're struggling for a present that might be a little bit different, if they are wanting to learn Spanish, remember that in my other life, I am a Spanish teacher. And I just want to show you I haven't put my books up for ages. Let's have a look. So if you want to learn Spanish, I have a book for each level from 1 to 5. And these books, you can learn Spanish at home. The explanations are in English. The answers are in the back. And you can always contact me. People can always contact me if they've got anything they're really stuck on. And these are available on any Amazon site in any country. If you're not sure of the level that you need, you can get in touch with me and I'll advise you on which level you should be. And also, just to let you know, I do have another YouTube channel, which if you're a member of that YouTube channel, which I think is $2.99 a month, we do a live every Friday so you can ask me anything you want to know about Spanish. So that's the first thing I wanted to tell you about. Second thing I wanted to tell you about, again, you may know about this book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher. This is my book. And I have been reading it out loud, of course, on YouTube. And there's now a playlist where you can listen to it. So you don't have to buy it. But just if sometimes people prefer a book, I think you can get it on Kindle as well. So just to let you know, that is Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, if you prefer a book to listening to it. I've noticed everybody's different, aren't they? Some people prefer an Audible, some people prefer a book. I personally, I think nowadays I do probably prefer an Audible, but it depends where you are, and you can't take I suppose you can take an Audible, can't you, and read it on a plane? I don't know, or listen to it on a plane. But anyway, whatever floats your boat, whatever's good for you. What's the next thing? So I just want to get these over with. Oh yeah, my little shop, where I'm selling merchandise and things like. So far, there's mugs on there and things. I had that all set up somewhere. Hang on, let me just close down the ones I've already. Oh yeah, so let me show you. No, that's not the right one. Now so I think that I've organised the shop so there is free shipping to the UK. I think I've managed that. Now I've put this little calendar up. I'm going to put more up. This is obviously for the new year. True crime and a glass of wine, but I can put anything on the front. And I put like some of the animals that that you'd all sent me when we were collecting animals. Obviously, you can only put 12 on there. So where does it show you them? Anyway, I might have to show it you on another thing, but there's various. Where can you? God, you're supposed to be able to see it all. Right, show me the front and the back and not showing me what's in it. Hang on. There they are down below. So yeah, so I put so I thought what I'm going to do one with dog. Well, need to be two with dogs because there were so many pictures of dogs. with dogs, cats, others, because there were so many different animals that I was sent. So I'm going to put a selection of them up. I've only managed one so far because it takes a little while. But yeah, a little desk calendar for the new year with the with animals on it. Of course, the other things that are available are the mugs. There's different sizes, different types. I've actually ordered one of these for me, like a two-tone multicolour one. I'm not in the mood for Twonks today. And as soon as it arrives, I'll be drinking my tea out of it. Anyway, that's all that's there at the moment, because obviously you won't believe how long it takes. I'm not moaning. Well, I am moaning a bit, really. It's just, God, I didn't realise it would be so complicated. It's very, very complicated trying to get it right and trying to get the shipping right, etc. So, I mean, it's still a work in progress. But these are things that are available now and should be free shipping to the UK, as far as I know. If you know, I'm not saying you have to buy one, obviously, but if you were interested in buying one and you go on there and it's any different, let me know, and then I'll see what I can do about it. Okay, so that's that. So what I'm going to do now is, some of you, I'm going to say hello to everyone first, because, you know, so this month, so last month I was collecting the animals. Are you all set? Gosh, I mean, that was a fantastic response. So many animals sent in, you know, dogs, cats, wild animals that come into people's gardens. There was snakes, there was reptiles, lizards, fish, rabbits, gerbils, everything that you can imagine, really. Horses, ponies. So and it was lovely, and I made the video of it that I showed yesterday as on the advent calendar, as the first day of the advent calendar. So that was lovely. So this month, what I'm collecting are your Christmassy type pictures. So either pictures of you dressed up for Christmas, or your Christmas tree, or I believe it's snowing there at the moment, so there'll be lots of snowy scenes, those kind of things. So just before I do say hello to everyone, I'm just going to show you what I've received so far. It should be fun. It's always always seems difficult when I try and do this. I don't know why. Right, go back to, oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a beautiful one, isn't it? I just received this today. Lovely doggies in the snow. More doggies in the snow. I don't know if I can lift that up because that thing's covering at the bottom, but that they've obviously put these little stars on there, makes it look very Christmassy. And somebody sent me real snow that they've had outside their house this morning, before too many people walk on it. A few little footprints and things. There must be a snowman there by now. Yeah, send me pictures of snowmen, etc. Oh, this was just a picture I downloaded for the advent calendar. And one of the my subscribers has actually sent a picture of him and dressed as Father Christmas. That's great. This makes me smile every time I look at it. And then this is a house of someone who lives near to one of the chatters, who does this apparently every year for charity, does their house up. And I was saying earlier when I was looking at it, they'll get quite an electricity bill, won't they? But it does look beautiful. It really does. So this is what we're collecting this month. And, you know, we might be able to make a calendar out of the Christmassy things that we get. I might be able to make a calendar next year, you know, for if you see what I'm saying. I don't know if you actually saw that. Oh, I don't think you saw all them, did you? Right, I'm going to show you again. Okay, you should be able to see them now. I bet you were all shouting at me there, going, no, we can't see it. We can't see it. I don't think I've done that for ages. I've been, yeah, you can see it now, can't you? So let me just explain what they were again. So 3 dogs in the snow, 2 dogs in the snow. They're the same person's dogs, but unfortunately the 3 dogs anymore. But these are the dogs that are now with us. The snow outside somebody's house. Just a couple of stock images, Christmassy images. Someone in a Father Christmas suit. And then this is the house I was telling you about, where they do it up for Christmas every year for charity. And well, you won't forget where you lived, would you? You won't get lost if you live near there once that was all lit up. I mean, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? So yeah, Father Christmas, snow. So you've all got snow, haven't you? It seems like lots of snow in the UK. Lovely scene with the dogs in the snow. More dogs in the snow. Okay, so they're the Christmas pictures that I've got so far. But please send me your Christmassy pictures, and then at the after Christmas or on Christmas Day probably, I'll do a video. Putting them all together. Okay, let me say hello to everybody now. So Chumba, yeah, hi Chumba, hi Wendy, hi David. Oh, Chumba, they've made snowmen in the park. Need to try and get a photo of them before they melt and send it in. Mariah, oh, so it's definitely not snowing in Australia. No, it's summer for you, isn't it? It's summer in Australia. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Tina. Hi, Claire. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jim. Jim and Goats, yeah. Hi, Wendy. I think I might have said hello to Wendy already. No, you can't. You could. No, I'm coming down. You couldn't see, but you should have seen them now. So you have seen them now, haven't you? Yeah, you know. One day I'll get the hang of putting the chat somewhere else where I can actually look at the chat while I show photos. Okay, so let's now talk about what we're here to talk about. I don't think there was anything else. Let me just see. Yeah, so something's happening in Los Angeles. Now, imagine it. So it's snowing in the UK, which is bad enough, isn't it? At least if you're inside the house and, cozy, etc. But imagine if you're living on the streets and it's snowing and it's freezing cold. And then not only that, well, apart from Cruella trying to take your tent off you as well. And then, but now in Los Angeles, it's thought, well, the police have announced that in their eyes, there is a serial killer deliberately killing homeless people. I mean, how how awful. So it's bad enough killing anybody, but you can't get much more vulnerable, can you, than somebody who's just living on the street, got no home, got nothing probably, or not much. And it's a very sensitive subject. I know. I never realized how, because apparently in Los Angeles 30% of America's homeless are in Los Angeles, in California. So it's like a massive problem. It's a huge, massive problem. And of course, it causes problems to people who live there for various reasons. Because, yes, quite a few of the people I imagine who are homeless have got drug problems, etc. But not all of them will, of course. So then if you did end up in that position, where you were homeless. That's bad enough in itself, but then you're amongst people that do have maybe those kind of problems. And so, of course, a lot of people don't try to just find a spot on their own. They don't want to be necessarily near the other people because they're scared of what might, if they might get attacked, or, women are vulnerable to rape, etc. in these environments. So it must be just horrible. I just can't imagine how horrible it is. So a lot of the homeless, they try, to find a little spot for themselves, like rather than being around in where they may get attacked by the other homeless. That's the other problem they've got. Now they've got to worry about if this guy is going to come out and look for them. The guy who's going out, it seems like he's killed 3 in a short space of time over a couple of days. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the CCTV that they've released. It's very sinister, isn't it? Because it's so shadowy. You can't see anything really, except it probably is a man. But I think, it could be a woman. I don't think it's 100% certain. It looks as if it's a man, probably, but I don't think you could say that 100% certain. So they've released this sort of grainy image that they think is the person. They've also released the picture of this car, which they think is their car. So let's just see what Sky News has got to say about it. So yeah, serial killer hunted in LA after 3 homeless people are shot dead. And the city's mayor says she's trying to make more shelter services available after a series of murders in very similar circumstances. So now I don't know I think it would be cold in Los Angeles at the moment. I think they are in winter. I don't think they're in summer like they are in Australia, but somebody might know different. But so Los Angeles police are hunting a potential serial killer after 3 homeless people were shot dead in separate incidents. Now, I've got to say, most of the things that I've heard lately coming out of Los Angeles, you definitely wouldn't want to live there. Maybe there's people, who are on this chat even who do live there, and maybe it's got, maybe it's a lovely place to live, but no, it just doesn't seem like it. I think it seems like one of those places like Los Angeles and California. You have like very rich people, obviously lots of mansions, a lot of people from Hollywood and things like that live in that area, don't they, in California, etc. But it seems like a question where you've got like extreme poverty next to people who have got a lot. So, it'd just be awful, I think. To me, I wouldn't want to live there, that's for sure. But anyway, so these murders took place over a few days between the 26th and the 29th of November. And the city's mayor warned rough sleepers on Friday, try not to be alone tonight. So they're advising them to try and sort of stick together, and not sleep alone. But that causes its own danger, doesn't it, for the reasons that I was saying? Because some of the people who are on the streets there, they've got substance abuse problems, etc. And some of them haven't. CCTV has apparently been released of the suspect. Oh, they describe him as male and probably wearing a hoodie, as well as a dark coloured vehicle he might be using. I think the car's quite distinctive, to be honest. It looks like a sports car. Obviously the shady image here, I think you'd be struggling to make anything out of that, really. Though maybe if you knew that person and you'd seen them go out in that particular outfit, I don't know if they look like they've got a bit of a beanie hat on here under a hoodie, but I don't know. I expect the police are examining it and trying to make it a clearer image, or that may be the clearest image that they've managed to get. But I think the car is quite distinctive, isn't it? It's a sports car. Reminds me of a Celica or something like that. Does it say which type of car it is? Toyota Celica or something, but I have no idea. I'm trying to, as if I don't know anything about cars, so just I don't know why that came into my head actually. Anyway, LA Police Chief Michael Moore, or Michelle Moore, said a special task force had been set up to uncover the identity of a potential serial killer preying on the most vulnerable in our community. So the similarities that these murders share are that all three happened in the early hours and all suspects were homeless and alone. And Mr. Moore said they were all shot as they were sleeping. God, what a horrible thing. How could you even do that? Just go up to someone, it just beyond me how you could just kill someone in cold blood like that. I mean, if you're in an argument, you're fighting and that, and tensions get high, I think. But to just walk up to someone you don't even know, put a gun to the head or whatever and shoot them, just beyond me. But anyway, they were all shot as they were sleeping or preparing to bed down for the night. And the Los Angeles Times has named them as Jose Bolanos, 37, Mark Diggs, 62, and a 52-year-old man who's yet to be named. So they're all different ages. What they've got in common is that they are all homeless and they were all sleeping alone. Anyway, Mayor Karen Bass said she had met with Housing Department and Homeless Service and that they are doing all we can to make the shelter and services available. Our message to our unhoused community is clear. Try not to be alone tonight, she said. So they've started using this expression, I've noticed, instead of homeless, they call them the unhoused community. So the mayor added to the many Angelenos who have friends or family who are unhoused, please let them know the danger that exists. Well, I suppose if you're unhoused or homeless and you're on the streets, you're probably not likely to watch the news, maybe, and stuff, unless you've got telephone or you can't exactly just sit there and watch the telly, can you? To get the news. I hope they're going along there with leaflets or something, to warn them. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable, except it's true. So I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but yeah, apparently 30% of the whole homeless or unhoused community of America is in Los Angeles. Now, I don't know if you know what Los Angeles means, but of course it's Spanish and means the angels. You probably know that, City of the Angels, Los Angeles. And it's funny because my house, I called it Casa de Los Angeles. I've got like tiles, spelling that out. Casa de Los Angeles above my house because I do believe in angels. I do believe in angels. Let me just see if I've missed. I think I missed Jean. Now, hi, Jean. What you just said there, Charlie, is it related to Rachel's killer? I don't know because this not only there was Rachel and that killer's got a connection to Los Angeles. Then there were the two models that were murdered. That doesn't seem to be. They don't seem to be solved yet. Well, I say they were murdered. One was murdered. The other one, they found that she died of. I don't know if it was natural causes but anyway, they said it wasn't a homicide. But her family were really surprised because they said she had her leg up as if she was kicking someone away. But I suppose, that might have been pain. I don't know. I just don't know. So that's Los Angeles. There seems to have been a lot of things in Los Angeles just lately somehow. Do you know what I mean? It's like... well, maybe it's just because it's got a high crime rate, and it's just all coincidence. I really don't know. Oh, Jackie, you only know a few words in Spanish. Yeah, well, you could just learn a couple every day. Maybe that could be your New Year's resolution. Now, I agree as well, Charlie. I thought it looked like quite an expensive car. Or, you know, it was shiny anyway, but maybe it isn't. It could be old. I don't know. But and yeah, David, that was what I was thinking. All that CCTV. How can he just walk up to somebody? And now that his car's been on CCTV, you know, be wary surely of using that car. What? Jumbo, I'm not naked on the avatar. I'm not naked on there. I've actually got my pajamas on underneath my wig and my boa. It's too cold. So that was one thing that I read, and now how is he going to do it again? You know. Anyway, we're going to have a look at the press conference, and this is my mate JLR. He watched the press conference. I think this is his channel, so I want to give him his credit that I am recording this from him or showing it you from him, but he normally says he doesn't mind as long as he gets credit.
That they believe has identified a series. The first murder occurred on Sunday the 26th at approximately 3 a.m. in the southeast area in an alley in the rear of 836 West 110th Street. The victim has been identified as Jose Bolanos, a male Hispanic, 37 years of age. The second homicide occurred in Central Division on Monday, the 27th of November at approximately 4:55 a.m. There in the 800 block of East 7th Street, along a rear wall at that location, a victim identified as Mark Diggs, male black, 62 years of age, was murdered. The third homicide occurred at Hollenbeck Division on Wednesday, the 29th of November at approximately 2:30 in the morning near the intersection of South Avenue 18 and Pasadena Avenue. The victim there, a male Hispanic, 52 years of age, and while we have identified this individual, we are withholding his name pending notification of the next of kin. The commonalities amongst these homicides are that each of the victims were in an open area, whether it be a sidewalk or an alley. They were alone. And from other information that we've gathered.
So they were all in an open area, a sidewalk or an alley. So they're in an open area. They probably thought they would be safer there in an open area, you know, because it must be terrifying on the streets because you don't know who you're going to bump into, do you? And the other homeless people even. You know, as I say, there's so much sort of substance abuse and it just must be awful because a lot of people who are there will just be normal people who literally have, for whatever reason, lost their house. Could be because of mental illness. It could be because of losing their job. You just don't know what's happened in people's lives. Not everybody, to be honest, even if it is because of substance abuse or whatever, that is an illness, that's an addiction. It shouldn't be just treated like, oh well, they deserve it because it's their own fault. I just don't understand that mentality. But I don't know what the answer is. I do not know what the answer is to homelessness. Anyway,
to this point, we believe a single individual approached each one and shot and killed each one as they slept. The investigators have gathered physical evidence as well as video evidence.
So do you see only saying there, he said an individual has gone up to them and shot them as they slept. So I think that must have been on CCTV. Must have been on CCTV, but he's all hooded up and everything. So I don't know how they've wrecked that car, whether they've seen him getting out of that car. I'm not sure why they've actually thought that that car was relevant, why that car and not another one. I'm not sure, but it's an emerging case.
And we've identified this possible male lone individual, as well as a vehicle, whose both images that we're providing to the media today, that have similarities in each of the three cases. The Los Angeles Police Department, beginning yesterday upon us learning about the similarities and the conclusion that these three homicides are related and the same individual is responsible, has summoned a task force that will be operated out of Robbery Homicide Division under the command of Captain Scott Williams. We're bringing homicide investigators from throughout the city. We're bringing additional investigators from specialized posts, and we have placed our forensic science division on ready so that any forensic evidence that is gathered is also quickly processed and analyzed in an effort to identify the person we believe responsible for these three homicides. Additionally, once this was discovered, we began reaching out to our law enforcement partners in the region this morning.
So these three killings have happened very close together over the space of just a couple of days. So this has not, happened over weeks or months. It's literally just happened over a couple of days recently.
I spoke with Sheriff Luna, Chief of Police for Glendale, Manny Sid, Chief of Police for Pasadena, Eugene Harris, Chief of Police for Long Beach, the large cities, Wally Habish, to see if they have had any similarities. To this point, we have no unsolved homicides outside the city of Los Angeles, yet our work continues in identifying whether there are any other shooting victims of persons who were experiencing homelessness, which are unsolved and may have any similarities to these homicides. At this point, we're asking the public to look at these images, gather the locations where these occurred, and to help us identify.
Right, let's just see where the images are. He's going to bring because they repeat it all in Spanish. So, of course, in Los Angeles, there's a lot of Spanish spoken. So a lot of it is what one says and then the other says in Spanish. But I wanted to get to the bit where they, and there's JLR talking about it. Okay, I think that's enough from that conference. Now, I also had a look at News Nation. Let's have a look. I did have it prepared, but it's disappeared. Gosh, it won't ever let me go on to the actual website. Okay, let's have a look at what they say on News Nations. They're always quite they're always interesting too. Let's have a look. Okay.
Panel. John Fenoglio is a reporter for News Nation's affiliate KTLA. Phil Waters is a retired homicide detective with the Houston Police Department. He has investigated more than 400 homicides. He knows his job. And then Dr. Gary Brucato is a clinical psychologist and the author of the book, The New Evil, Understanding the Emergence of Modern Violent Crime. And Mark Garagos is a criminal defense attorney and co-host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast with Adam Carolla, also an LA resident. He knows those streets. He knows those people. John Fenoglio, I want to start with you live on the ground if I can. Do police have any more leads since we last got that update?
Ashley, good evening to you. I can tell you that the latest murder that occurred actually happened on Wednesday right here on West Avenue 18 and LA's Lincoln Heights.
You see, so they're practical villages, these places where people live. I mean, this just isn't just a couple of just a couple of homeless people. They're practical towns, and I think that's what causes anger for a lot of the residents.
Neighborhood. As to your question, no.
The residents who are lucky enough to have houses, but I think they, just think, God, what's going to happen in the end? Is someone just going to go and kill them all?
Police tonight saying they do not have a lot to go on beyond that blurry, shadowy image of a suspect, a guy in a hoodie wearing casual clothing, driving away in what looks like a sports car. What they do say is that all of these victims were targeted, as you mentioned at the top of the show, 3 men over the course of 4 days, sleeping alone at night on city streets and alleyways. What's more, all of these murders happened near major interstates here in Los Angeles. Ashley.
John, what about the community? I mean, LA's a busy place. Not everybody's watching the local news, and this just sort of happened. So how much of a concern is out there? How many people actually don't even know about this threat on the streets?
Well, look, the mayor's office is worried. The police are worried. The FBI, now involved, also worried. They are trying to put this issue on blast and get the word out as quickly as possible. They've also deployed hundreds of volunteers and city workers to go out into the community to warn people not to sleep alone at night and make good use of the city's emergency shelter system. The notion of a possible serial killer at large is something that no community can abide by, and that is what the mayor and the police chief are focusing on tonight, again, warning people not to sleep alone. Ashley.
John, we hear a lot about homelessness on the rise in San Francisco.
When they say don't sleep alone, but who are you going to sleep with? Because you don't know the other people. I expect there are some communities there. I expect there are communities of people some people are on the streets for like 20 years, all their life. Once they go on the streets, they never come off the streets. Other people are luckier, and maybe they're just spend a brief time on the streets and then manage to get their life together. Some people are lucky enough to have a car maybe, and they can sleep in the car. I just never forget. Do you remember when Richie Rishi was at the homeless shelter giving out the soup, trying to not look like the twonk that he really is? And he actually asked one of the guys, because he was quite sort of, you could tell that like the guy had once had, he wasn't sort of, he was quite well spoken, dressed nicely. And Richie actually said to him, oh, are you in business? Do you remember that? He said, oh, are you in business? And the guy said, well, actually, I'm homeless at the moment. But yes, I would like to go into business. He probably thought Richie Rishi was going to offer him a job or something. But I mean, Rishi wouldn't be seen dead with somebody who was working class. That was the other thing he said anyway, wasn't it? In another video, anyway, I'm not going to start going on about him, so I'll start ranting. But yeah, there's all different people on the streets. So there's people who've been there for years, maybe 20, 30 years. And there'll be other people who've only just, gone on there and hopefully will get off there at some point. There's young people that fell out with their parents or whatever. There's such a combination of people. So who are you going to sleep with? Who are you going to trust to go and sleep with them? Well, not with them, but next to them, because you've got danger everywhere. So I would imagine these people were separate from the communities and that, thinking they'd be safer. And then along comes this twonk out of this car and just shoots them while they're sleeping.
Francisco, maybe not as much national headlines about the homelessness problem in your city. Is there, is it at crisis level, and is there a lot of anger? I'm just trying to figure out a motive. Maybe this killer has a screw loose about the politics of it all.
Well, look, it's a good question. There's no doubt that there's a collective frustration about homelessness here in Los Angeles and in California as a whole. But the notion that a serial killer or anyone would be driven to shoot and kill somebody sleeping, an innocent person, is just beyond the pale. But that said, California, it's estimated, has 30% of the nation's homelessness. Of course, LA, being the nation's second largest city, has many of those folks living right here. There is a sense of frustration, sometimes hopelessness. Mayor Karen Bass campaigned on getting people off the street, but bottom line, the rate of people getting off the street has not kept up with the pace at which people are losing their homes. So yeah, there's a real sense of frustration here. But again, a killer on the loose, something that this city cannot abide. Ashley.
One thing I just don't get, John, is what the LAP did in that news conference. They gave this picture of the car, and it's just sort of a blurry speed through shot, and then this hazy picture of a guy in a hoodie, and that's it. But I would think they got to have more than that. I mean, is the press frustrated with how little they've been handing out to try to catch this guy?
Yeah, tell me about it. We've been talking about it in our newsroom. We're wondering, why would they put out such little information, such blurry images? But it speaks to the idea that perhaps that's all they've got right now. If they had more, and they're putting this issue on blast, certainly they would release better photos and more information. We just don't have all that info right now. And of course, we're trying to get it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
Okay, so that's what News Nation. Oops, sorry, just let me turn it off. That's what News Nation had to do say about it. So it's yes, I am a busy bee, aren't I? Well, yeah, but I like to be busy. I like to be busy. That's what I thrive on. Hi, Mal. So have you got a note, Mal? You need a note, you know that. Yeah, otherwise you go on the naughty step. Jumbo will put you on the naughty step. So, well, what do we think about that now? Do you think now all this publicity that the police have put out, I'll just see if I don't think there's been any latest news that I've seen tonight. Well, I say tonight. So what time will it be there? Oh no, it's daytime, isn't it, in America now? So it's sort of just coming into the day now. So I suppose let's just make sure there's not been any news overnight of another one. So I think what she was trying to get at there when she was talking to the guy, the other reporter, is the resentment, for the homeless. Like, is this someone who lives in the area who's just decided he's fed up, of seeing homeless people around? Is it somebody who's got like a grudge against homeless people? Or is it just someone who wants to kill people? And of course, they're easy prey, aren't they? They're easy prey. There they are, just lay in the street. But at the end of the day, he's got to be caught quickly. But do you know what? I thought Rachel Marin's killer would be caught quickly after the CCTV, the door cam footage came out, and it turned out they had his DNA, and he's still on the run. He's still not been apprehended after months. So, you just hope that they will find him quickly. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight, and we'll start to follow that as we go along. I thought I'd do an early live on a Saturday because I know probably a lot of you like to watch Strictly or whatever. If there's ever any good TV on, it's normally on a Saturday. Not that I watch that. I don't really. I used to watch it. I've gone off everything on the TV now. I rarely watch the TV now. So rarely. I've not even watched I'm a Celebrity this year. And I used to always watch that, but I just couldn't stand the thought of listening to Nigel Farage. Anyway, so let me just come back and just make sure you're all okay. Yeah, a coward. I mean, you couldn't get much more cowardly than going up to someone who's asleep, a vulnerable person, a homeless person, and, he's not doing anything. It's not like shooting someone because they've done something terrible, or they're robbing someone or attacking someone. Literally just trying to sleep. out on the street where they're already really vulnerable and just shooting them while they're asleep. I mean, it's horrible, isn't it? It really is horrible. It's horrific. Jackie likes Strictly. Yeah, I used to like it. I don't know why I don't like it now, but anyway. So let's just have a look. I was looking earlier to see if there had been any news about Rachel Marin, and sadly there hasn't. Although just a couple of weeks ago, another YouTuber, the guy from the interview room, I can't remember his name, but he did say that he made an announcement saying that he had been identified, that Rachel's killer had been identified. And, you know, and I picked up on that. A lot of different YouTubers picked up on that. And nothing's happened since then either. So that was obviously either he got, you know, someone gave him wrong information. I won't say false information, because I don't, you know, I do trust him. I don't think he would have just come out with something for the sake of it. But obviously somebody obviously gave him some false information, or maybe it was true information and they still don't want to divulge you who it is. Maybe he has been identified, but they just haven't managed to catch him yet. That's possible as well. So I was having a look to see what has happened, if anything, in the Rachel Marin case. Now, just to remind you, those of you that maybe don't know about the Rachel Marin case, we've been covering it, right, oh gosh, it feels like a long time now, right from when it first happened. I've been, you know, anytime there was any developments, I've been covering them. But it's just, you know, and then of course the first big development. So let me tell you what happened. So this mother, I think she's 37. She was walking along or jogging along a trail in Maryland, and disappeared, and then was found, unfortunately, very brutally murdered the following day. And a couple of weeks later, the police announced that they had matched the DNA of the killer to an incident right over the other side of the country. Couldn't get any further away, really, in Los Angeles, which was a home invasion. They called it a home invasion. But any of us who have seen the video of the guy, it didn't look much like a home invasion. It looked like he knew those people. But we don't know the full story yet. Apparently, the people themselves, the police said, were cleared. They had nothing to do with the Rachel Marin case. But yeah, they did all appear to know this guy. So I don't know how it was worked out to be a home invasion. But anyway, that's what they said. But they won't give any further details. So they're obviously keeping everything close to the chest until somebody's arrested. Because as we know, until someone's actually arrested, they've got to be careful about what information they give out, because that can compromise a trial, can't it, later on? So anyway, so he's still out there. That guy, he's killed Rachel very, very viciously. Apparently, they haven't released the full details, but they just keep saying about how brutal it was. So I think we can presume it was brutal. And then he's sort of disappeared into the ether. It's like that man doesn't exist. He's like a ghost, even though they've got CCTV of him, very clear CCTV of him. I mean, you don't see his full-on face, but anybody who knew that man would know that that was him. So it's believed that he's been protected by family. Apparently, Rachel's mum actually came out and said that. There's been a little bit of animosity between Rachel's mum and the police and etc. Because I think, you know, the family probably feel the police aren't moving quickly enough. But then even the family don't get to know everything that's going on in a case, you know, and it just must be awful waiting for news. Anyway, I'm going to share this article with you. Yeah, David, she did. They did look like they all knew each other. That woman was looking straight at him, wasn't she? You know, it was very odd. Anyway, let's have a look at this article. Because there's been a sort of a positive development, but unfortunately it's too late for Rachel. Because what's happened is on that trail, it's called the Ma and Pa Trail. It's a popular hiking trail, and it's northeast of Baltimore in Maryland. And what they've done is they've now installed AI cameras to prevent future crimes. As I say, it's sad because obviously it's too late for Rachel, but if that saves someone else's life along the line, you know, can only be a good thing, can't it? And not only their life, because, you know, people are vulnerable to being RAPD'd or anything. You know, when you walk a trail, if you're in a bit where there's nobody around, you are vulnerable. So at least if there are these AI cameras, it says. So construction to install a video camera system on the popular hiking trail started nearly 4 months ago. I hope that the cameras are being installed on the trail today will serve as a deterrent to prevent anyone else from being attacked and anyone else from having to suffer the same loss that all of Rachel's loved ones have had to deal with, said Matthew McMahon, who is the father of Rachel's first child. Now, Rachel had 5 children, and now that family has all been split up because they are different fathers. So they've all gone to their respective fathers. So her children have had to be separated, which is very sad, I think. So here's Rachel. Rachel's body was discovered just off the trail in a tunnel. While police found DNA from the scene, matched that of an assault case. It was saying an assault case here. They said it was a home invasion, not an assault case. See, they are giving, that's bit, I don't like that conflicting information. We know what happened last time. We got conflicting information, and then now nobody knows what's true anymore. Everything's so, yeah, it's like, God, you know, we don't want conflicting information. We just want, you know, the facts. Anyway, they still don't know who the person is. A situation that might have been helped had this technology been in place. That's the beauty of this system. It's monitored by artificial intelligence, said Harford County Executive Robert Casserly. Casserly said the system will cover nearly 2 miles of the trail from Williams Street to North Tollgate Road, with 26 cameras focusing on the more isolated areas. Now, I'll tell you what's been very sad as well about this case, and of course the Nicola Bulley case. Now, as you know, or as I've been telling people, I've now got a car again. So I took my dogs out this morning to where I used to always walk them, where I've not been able to go because, you know, it's a bit of a trek. It's not that far away, but it's a bit far in the mornings and that when I'm rushing around. And it's like, it's very deserted, a building there, and it's quite a deserted place. And I was there at about 7 o'clock this morning. I mean, to be honest, I used to be there at 6. And it was dark. It was just getting light, just starting to get light. There was still a few people around because the builders always start early, and then you see another few dog walkers and that. But I actually felt really nervous, and I never used to feel nervous. I'll get used to it again. It's just because I haven't been there for ages, I'm sure. But I felt a little bit edgy. And I think that's because of Nicola's case and this case and other cases, you know. And it was so funny because my dogs were, oh my God, they were so glad to get there. They didn't know where to sniff first. You could see it was like, oh my God, not been here for ages. Oh, go sniff over there. Oh, hang on a bit. What about here? Oh, better go and sniff up there. Sniff. Oh, I remember this. Oh my God, they were like they were running. they were running around in circles. They didn't know where to sniff first. And I think it was just because they hadn't been there for so long. And, you know, dogs, they do remember, like, through smell. So it was, they loved it. They loved it. I found it really stressful because they were just running around so much, but also because I did feel, you know, a little bit vulnerable. And I never used to feel like that. But anyway, I'll get into it again. So, this system will cover nearly 2 miles of the trail, with 26 cameras focusing on the more isolated areas, and it picks up when one person either has a gun or a knife that they have jumped onto somebody. The AI reads that and then flags that camera. Gosh, you can actually tell if someone has a gun or a knife. Mind you, what if they haven't got a gun or a knife? I hope it still flags up. Then 911 operators are notified and action can be taken from there. Wow. For Susan Kemen, who used to be a frequent hiker of the trail, it's still an eerie feeling, but she said this is a big step in making her feel safe. You know, why should women not be allowed to just, I mean, they're allowed to, but why should they be frightened of it? You know, that you're like, they should maybe have an hour where no men are allowed. You know, sorry, men, but just an hour maybe a day where it can only be women. And I don't know, but you should be able to feel safe wherever you go. You want to walk your dog, you want to go for a hike, you want to go for a jog, whatever you want to do, why can't you feel safe? Anyway, knowing that the cameras are up and running, I probably will venture out by myself during the day and not feel so intimidated by what might happen, said Miss Kemen, not just Kemen, who lives in Bel Air. So these cameras are supposed to go live or expected to go live in mid-February and collecting data that will be stored and accessible by police. Now, it's an interesting idea because, you know, for places like maybe St. Michael's, etc., for anywhere where people go walking, maybe that'd be a good idea. What do we think of that? Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, you shouldn't have to do it, but with today's technology, if it's reasonably, once you put it up there, I presume it doesn't take a lot of maintenance once it's actually been installed. And if that helps, you know, if that makes people safer, well, it's got to be good, hasn't it? So David, a large hat. Well, you know what I take with me? I have taken scissors before, and I keep the scissors in my hand, and just as I'm walking around, just in case. Or you hold your keys where you could just stick them in. I know that the first place you have to aim for is the eye, because that's the most vulnerable place, and that stops them in the track. I've tried to get hold of pepper spray. I must try and do that. But yeah, Sybil, it's not fair, is it, that we can't just, makes me angry, you know, why I love walking in the country and I haven't, and sometimes you just can't arrange it with somebody else because there are people that I've gone walking with, but we have different schedules sometimes. I'm a person, I like to go really early, and there's not many people want to go walking as early as I like to go walking, because I don't, you know, I go to bed maybe 10, 11, and I'm up at 6. You know, I like getting up at 6. So I should be able to go without worrying, that I'm not safe or whatever. Anyway, I do have a stick as well. I have a walking stick, and the idea of the walking stick is not really to help me walk. It's that can whack over. It's not only for people, it's for dogs as well, because if there was like an altercation with dogs, and you know, I needed to separate my dog from somebody else's dog, I'd rather do it with a walking stick than with my hands, you know, and end up getting bitten. So, you know, that's That's something, but it won't stop me going. It's just because today was the first time for, it's probably been a year. Can't even remember the last time I had a car, but it's been a good while. So I just felt nervous. And Chumba's saying, "Don't mess with Vicky." Well, you know what? I am from Manchester, and I am, I am tougher than I look. People think because like I'm 5'2" and bobbing on a bit now that I'm not tough. I am tough, and I would certainly have a good go. I would certainly have a good go at, but also definitely scissors in the eye. It worked when Henry Cooper tried to stop the wife struck when he grabbed the woman so much for the stick? Yeah, you have got to be careful with domestic violence sometimes. Years ago, anyway. Yeah, quite often, unfortunately, the woman does then stick up for the man. But I didn't know that happened to Henry Cooper. But yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen, what I'd like to cover one day in a video, if you've ever seen Dirty John, which is a series, a Netflix, everything's a Netflix series these days. But it is based on a true story. Do you know about Dirty John? But it's very interesting. So it's about a lady, a very rich lady, businesswoman. She's got everything except the love of her life. She wants another husband. I think she'd already been married definitely at least once, if not twice. And she met someone through the internet and he said he was a doctor. And I've not heard about this chum, but he said he was a doctor and he would always turn up or often turn up for their dates in his scrubs. And anyway, she started having this relationship with him. She totally fell in love with him. He was like the perfect partner, and anyway, turned out obviously he wasn't. She married him. He treated her like a queen for a long time, but she started to find out things about him. And anyway, I won't spoil the whole story for you because I'll do it one day on a video. But let's just say that in the end, as I say, this is a series, but it was based on a true story. You won't believe it. It's one of them that you can't believe that it could possibly be true, but it is true. I've seen the actual woman being interviewed with her daughters. But just let's say that one of her daughters that this man attacked, luckily for her, she'd watched The Walking Dead. You've probably not seen The Walking Dead, but it's like a zombie series and how they dealt with zombies. She picked up some tips from that. You don't have to be big and strong to stop someone in their tracks. There's ways you can stop someone in their tracks. And that's why I've always got a pair of scissors in my pockets. Whenever I walk, in fact, that just reminded me I didn't this morning because I'd forgotten about it. But yeah, need to get my scissors back in my bag or in my pocket because if you just carry the scissors like pointy side out, anyone comes near you, in the eye, you've got to aim for the eye. But have you not heard of that, Jackie? Jackie, have you not heard of that story? Yeah, Tina, we brought up tough. You have to be tough, especially if you're from a council estate in Manchester. I've had to be tough, but don't get me wrong, I'm not violent or anything like that. But if somebody somebody came for me, to be honest, probably more if they came for someone that I cared about. I find that I'm more defensive with people. Things can go, that's the other thing, I'm tough in that way as well. Things can go over my head and I just think, well, who are you anyway? Like, I don't care what people think, people say. But if they start attacking somebody that I care about, I can get really, really nasty then. But so you've not heard of it either, Jackie. The other Jackie, I'm going to call you Jackie Q. And the other Jackie is Jackie K. Oh, you watched The Walking Dead, Charlie? Well, at least you'll know what I mean about. Anyway, seems like nobody's heard of the case of Dirty John. It's a brilliant series, and I can't remember the names of any of the actors that are in it, but they're really good actors. The guy who plays Dirty John, now that was his nickname. The reason it's called Dirty John is it turned out when she got married and all his mates were there at the wedding, she found out that his nickname at university or whatever was Dirty John. So that tells you a lot what you need to know about this guy, what sort of a man he was. And what he'd presented, it turned out that the face that he presented to her, he wasn't even a doctor. He'd said he was a doctor. He'd sometimes, turn up like, oh God, I've had a terrible day at the hospital. And he'd have his scrubs on. He said he was a surgeon or something. Which really, when you think about it now, that's a red flag, isn't it? Because you're not allowed to just come out the operating theatre and just go off on a date or whatever, because you'd probably be, giving you, who knows what things are picked. The operating theatre is supposed to be sterile, isn't it? Oh, did you watch it, Wendy? It's a good series. It's a very interesting story, I think. Oh, Jim, are you from Stockport? Yeah, I've got quite a lot of family in Stockport as well. My family, I've got some in, they're over the, like Bury, over that way, and the rest are in Stockport. But I know Stockport well. How are you, goats? Yeah, spraying perfume or spraying hairspray, I would imagine, or chili powder. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's awful that you've even got to think about it, really, that you should just be able to walk your dog and not have to worry about somebody attacking you or whatever. But yeah, well, I'm going to do a video. I think one night next week for a live, I will do the story of Dirty John. I think people will be interested in it. It's a very interesting story. And what occurred to me was the woman, I can't remember her name again because it's years since I watched it, but she was a real woman. She was a businesswoman. She's got this very successful business. So she's obviously an intelligent woman, but he just pulled the wool over her eyes just like that because she was so desperate to be loved. And she's a very attractive woman as well. She's not a woman, but he was attractive too. And he just totally charmed her, literally charmed her out the trees. And for all the intelligence that she must have had to run this business and be so successful, it was like, what do they call it? She would interior decorator. She was an interior decorator, so she'd go and decorate people's homes for them, but rich people. And but she couldn't see through this guy. She just could not see through this guy. And she actually nearly fell out with her own daughters. She's got two daughters, and she nearly fell out with them because they didn't like him. They sort of smelt a rat, really, more or less from the beginning. And she nearly fell out with her daughters, and in fact her whole family, over it, because sort of little bits of it are coming back to me now because it was something else. What was that other thing that happened? Anyway, no, I need to research it and do I need to research it and do a proper video on it. But it's interesting because it's, again, one of those stories where it's true, but it's stranger than fiction, because you just think, oh my God, did that really happen? As with most things in life. Okay, so I'm going to let you go in a minute. I'm going to go off and I'm going to get a nice big vodka, I think, because I am actually on coffee at the moment. What time is it? Oh, well, it's 7:10 here in Spain, so I think it's definitely vodka o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm going to have a nice vodka. I'm going to make something nice for dinner. I'm not having, I've not had a curry on a Saturday night for ages. I used to always have a curry on a Saturday night, but of course it was summer and you don't really feel like, how curry was ever invented in India, I don't know, because it's the last thing you feel like when it's hot. But I believe it was It was devised, wasn't it, to cover up sort of not nice meat and things. But of course, they do lots of vegetarian curries, etc. And that's what I normally have, or prawn. But I haven't had a curry on a Saturday night for ages. But next week I'm going to have a curry because it's a little bit chillier now. It's not snowing. It's not snowing. It's 14 degrees on my computer, so it's not quite snowing, but it's a lot colder than it was. Okay, so Jackie with a Q is having a takeaway. Oh, Jean's had wee Indian chicken tikka. Oh, don't, now I'm getting hungry now, and now I want Indian food now because I'm told I fancy a curry now because it's been ages since I've had one and it's a bit chilly tonight. Anyway, I can't have curry. It'll be the usual pasta and vegetables for me tonight. Tuna. But listen, thanks for being here with me. Remember to send in your Christmas pictures, anything you've got that's anything Christmassy. Oh, thank you, Chumba. And let's hope that these poor unhoused people or homeless people, whatever, let's hope there's none of them fall victim tonight. Because it makes you wonder, is he going to just go off if he knows he's being watched now, which he will do if he watches the news, which I'm sure he does. Is he now going to realise that he's being watched, or will he go to another place to do it? Or is it just so big anyway, that area, he could just go off somewhere else? You know, I'm surprised he's not. He must be CCTV aware anyway, but we'll see. I just hope they're all safe. Else I'm going to say a little prayer for them, definitely. So remember to send me your Christmassy things in. Tomorrow there'll be the next Advent calendar, and then there will be Serial Killer Sunday tomorrow evening. And yeah, that's it. So have a fantastic evening. Remember to live and love very wisely, very carefully, because I do sometimes wonder about that woman with Dirty John. I think, did she find love in the end or not? But anyway, maybe I'll look that up as well. So night, and I'll see you tomorrow. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you so much. I'm blowing a kiss. You can't see it, but I am blowing a kiss. Bye.